to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, has anybody checked the hearing? I just checked mine. I don't have anything. So we're all here except for Carrie Battencourt. And, next is an added agenda item. I'd like a motion to add to item 11, old business van discussion.
Go ahead.
I'd like a motion to add, item 11, van discussion.
Second. Who's that? Courtney? Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Now we're on to board recognition.
So I can take the lead on this.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good idea.
I do recognize that's April, but March is Board of Education Appreciation Month. It was intended to recognize the board at our last meeting, but it was we had canceled that so that the board and administration could attend the Board of Finance public meeting on the budget instead. So tonight we're pleased to take the opportunity to recognize each of you. And just wanted to state on behalf of the school administration, staff and families, certainly recognize and want to thank you for your continued support, leadership and service to our schools and community. Certainly on behalf of the entire school community, we thank you for everything you do. And we do have a number of thank yous from the kids. So the signs behind are from elementary. I know that we also have some notes to pass around. And then as we've done in the past few years, we have a series of books that will be donated on behalf and in the name of the board to each of the 3 schools. The media specialists for each of the schools selected the titles. So certainly if there's opportunity, you want to take a look, you'll open the inside cover. It will share that it was a donation from the board ed to our students. So certainly it's not lost on us. Everything you do, you volunteer your time, and certainly appreciate your partnership and care for kids here in East Windsor.
Well, thank you. Sure everybody on the board is very appreciative of the recognition. We do it for the kids. We certainly don't do it for ourselves. We'd have more free time.
Not for your social calendar.
Give you a little Murphy Jones. She is on.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a strange question. The thank you cards, those thank yous, there's 9 of them. Can we each have one? Or
See, why not?
in the rules somewhere?
Laura's not in board. Yeah, she said absolutely.
I mean, let's get a plan. You want to hang them in the hallway or something? I just realized, know where to hang them in here, and there's 9 of them.
That's nice.
We could each have one.
Absolutely.
You're right, that was a strange question.
If I have, if I have it at my house and I see it, I'll say, oh, that's why. That's why. This is why I do this. That card.
You're definitely a numbers person. I never counted the 9.
Oh.
Yeah, he's looking at all the visuals.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And the goodies are for us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of goodies. Noreen said I can't give away the brownies, but she's gonna take me home with a card, I think. You're welcome to, we'll share. There's enough for everybody. On to approval of the minutes of the March 11th regular meeting.
Make a motion to approve the March 11th, 2026 regular meeting minutes.
Second. Motion's made by Courtney, seconded by Abby? Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. On to public participation. Would anyone in the public like to speak? Please identify yourself for the record.
Okay, I want to make sure, there's a lot of people here. Okay, my name's Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Broadbrook. I have start my stopwatch before I speak. There we go. Just in case, I don't want to go over. All right, I have three items. The first two relate to the presentation of the budget back in the first public hearing. What is the total cost per student? That means $33.2 million divided by the total number of students. No matter where they come from, has nothing to do with it. Students in the school are students. And the budget is the budget. It's not where the money comes from, it's how much. I calculate $23,714 per student. However, my number is not a number to be shared publicly. I think it's up to the presentation of the budget to tell us what is the cost per student the budget represents. That's item one. Item two, the percentage of seniors graduating, which in my mind means the total senior population compared with the diplomas handed out in June. That's it. It's a very simple thing. We need to know that in the public when the budget is presented, so we understand what we're paying for. That is a suggestion. Okay. Number three. There are no doors on the bathroom stalls in the high school. This needs to be corrected. I understand that there are individual bathrooms, but they're usually locked. Teens need their privacy. This is a traumatic time in their lives, and they're dealing with changes they don't even understand. They're trying to learn. They've got personal issues, and this lack of privacy is not appropriate. I consider it abuse. I've heard stories of students leaving school for a family emergency so they can use a bathroom at home, because they will not use a bathroom where they're exposed to everyone. I have no idea why this started, but it is not acceptable. I've also heard that students go to the nurse's office just to use the bathroom. I've also heard that there are students that have special permission to go to the nurse's office to use the bathrooms because they don't want to use the ones they're assigned to because it just doesn't work. Okay, I think it's abuse. I don't think it's right. And I think it makes for a very bad learning environment. And I went over time. I apologize. But thank you for listening.
Thank you, Paul. Actually, I think the superintendent might have the answers to all of them, all the
Sure.
questions. We don't usually do back and forth, but in this case, since we probably have the answers and you're sitting next to the principal who's looking pretty surprised that her bathrooms don't have doors. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer the first two and then I'll allow Mrs. Anderson to answer the third one. So regarding the per pupil costs, I can tell you when we presented to the Board of Finance last week, that total costs along with the local costs, both costs were presented to the board. It was a presentation. There was copies available for all public, and it is on our website. So if you go on the Board of Ed website, you can find that presentation. It was offhand, I don't recall the number, but it was slightly higher than the number you referenced. But that, as made public, is available public and is on the website, and again, was presented to the Board of Finance at the last meeting.
And the cost per student?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to make sure I understand you. Yep, thank you.
And then regarding, graduation rate, I can tell you that's actually coincidentally in correspondence in the Board of Ed packet. There is one up there. It's 90%, based on the most preliminary data from the state, gives a total number. It's on the back of the packet, but you're more than welcome to, I'll tell you what page it's on too.
Oh, and here's the page with the per pupil cost. I had the whole budget. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Page 58 in the packet has the graduation rate along with the breakdown per gender, race, and program participation with total numbers and percent. Thank you.
Look at that.
And then for number 3, I'll defer to Mrs. Anderson as far as the principal, since it has to do with facilities at the high school.
So all of our bathrooms do have doors, stalls do have doors. We have actually, we have a bathroom that is open to all students that is a handicap. What we used to be a handicap bathroom, we made accessible to all students, and it has a door that locks. It's a single stall. But all of the public bathrooms, every toilet has a stall with a door.
It's interesting. So people are telling me stories that aren't necessarily true. It pays to come here.
I'm glad you're anytime. Rumors that there's no doors on stalls.
Share the good word.
Thank you for your comments. Really. Well,
Thanks for listening.
thanks for coming. We don't usually have.
don't usually
public.
have-
Yeah, so we're glad you were here. Any other public wish to speak? Then we are on to the student representative report.
But for all elementary school, on March 24th, Ms. Fox and Mr. Ryan welcomed new kindergarten families during an evening information session. 20 families learned more about the kindergarten program and visited classrooms. On March 26th, Broadbrook Elementary School celebrated a belated Read Across America Day. East Windsor High School students visited to read Green Eggs in Hand to students in kindergarten through grade 4, followed by a hands-on activity, making a pan of green eggs in hand. School also welcomed 3 officers from the East Windsor Police Department who spent time reading to students during their lunch breaks. The school-wide One School, One Book celebration concluded with a final spirit day to celebrate the program's success. Students were invited to bring a favorite stuffed animal to school for the day. On March 27th, first grade students participated in an engaging in-school field trip during STEM class hosted by the Lutz Museum. The presenters brought a variety of live animals, providing students with a close-up look of different species while teaching them about animal habitats and how various creatures adapt to their environments. And on to the middle school. The 8th grade recently held their first semester awards ceremony to recognize students for their hard work and achievements. On Saturday, March 14th, East Windsor Middle School students participated in the Destination Imagination Tournament. In second place for the Win It Big Challenge was a team of Harsh, Zayden, Kendra, Juliet, Ryan, and Danny. Taking first place in the Win It Big Challenge was a team of Varshitha, Iris, Zubari, Jaden, and Barrett. Additionally, first place in the Becoming Super Challenge went to Mackenzie, Riley, Samuel, and Nathan. We are incredibly proud of all 3 teams for their outstanding work and representation of East Windsor Middle School. On March 27th, Ms. Stinson, the East Windsor Middle School Band, and the chorus teacher received the Emerging Educator Award from the CMEA. For high school, for the 2nd year in a row, our National Honor Society students planned and executed an Easter egg hunt in participation with East Windsor Parks and Rec. The event was free for pre-K to grade 4 students in East Windsor and held alongside the annual Bunny Breakfast. At the Bunny Breakfast, East Windsor High School students offered a coloring station, an Easter egg bag decorating station, a yard game station, and a face painting station. At the conclusion of the breakfast, everyone went outside for the egg hunt. In preparation for the event, our students held a candy drive, gathered and prepped all materials, and delegated jobs for the day. They did a wonderful job and showed that they do not hide their phantom pride.
Thank you, Tim. Now we're on to, high school. High school reports.
Oh,
What do you need from a flash drive?
nothing. I just need you to plug it in so I can plug it.
Oh, that's it. All right.
All right. Come on up, everyone.
You need me to share the screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wait, all right.
We're all a lot of friends. Back over here. We'll do like, so they can see the screen. There we go. I'll do this. While we're setting up, we thought this time around when we gave the high school report, I know you love hearing me talk. But we bring people who actually are doing what I'm talking about and actually are receiving what I'm talking about. So we brought some teachers and some student voices here so you could hear about some of the things that are going on at the high school. As always, everything that we do at the high school is linked to your strategic plan. And you'll see throughout the presentation links to goals 1, 3, and 4 of, or is it 2? Goals 1, 2, and 4 of your strategic plan. And the curriculum update was supposed to be tonight as well about new courses. And so we combined that into this presentation. So this is kind of with the new courses, that's where that's going to fit into this presentation. So it's all one-stop shopping tonight with my big little. So. Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. We'll see if this works. Now, if this works, you can really just sit back and watch. It worked.
Hey, I'm happy to.
Everyone's excited, right? Yeah. All right, so this is kind of just when I started this already. I just kind of want to update you on this. So primarily we talk about coursework and our think about our future week. And you'll see that there's alignment to goals 1, 2, and 3 in the plan. So I'll start with one of our new courses this year. So I have Miss, first of all, let's have everyone introduce themselves before I do this. So I'm Allison Anderson, the principal of the high school. Just say your name and what grade you're in.
Andres Ontiveros, and I'm in 11th grade.
I'm Nicole Brown. I'm a junior.
I'm Cooper K. I'm also a junior.
I'm Wyatt Temple. I'm a sophomore.
I'm Chelsea Pacheco. I teach 11th graders.
I'm Jonna Borowski. I'm the music teacher.
Sharon Whalen, school counselor.
So Jonna Borowski is going to talk about one of the new offerings we have here at the high school this year called Music Theory. And then we also offered an advanced placement version of that. Those of you who were on the curriculum council subcommittee, you remember her presenting that last year. So go ahead, Jonna.
Awesome. Hi. It's so nice to see you guys again. I was saying to someone earlier, I had deja vu because it was like around this time last year that I was proposing all of these courses. And I've been so lucky to get to run them. So I'm mostly here today to talk about AP Music Theory. I was really lucky. We have 3 students studying for the exam right now. And when you think about how niche of a course that is, and how much prerequisite knowledge that requires to have 3 senior students that were willing to take on, this new AP course to the program of studies. I couldn't be more proud of them, and I'm so happy to have them in my class this year. So I just wanted to really quickly talk about how it's been going, from the beginning to now from last year. So my goals with proposing both academic level theory as well as advanced placement music theory. I really wanted to expand the musical offerings with classes that were accessible to both students in and out of performing ensembles. So music theory at some level, that's for students, who are in choir and in band and want an extension of their education, but it's also for students that don't necessarily play a musical instrument and want to know more about it. Or maybe they play a non-ensemble instrument at home out of school, like acoustic guitar or piano. This is a way for them to take advantage of some more advanced offerings inside of the classroom, and a way for me to connect with them in ways that I wasn't able to previously. It's also, for our students who are in band and chorus and who are looking for that maybe advanced placement extension, it's a way for them to take advantage of their learning. I have more students now than ever that are telling me they want to pursue humanities after high school in some way, whether that is arts or music or just something that they want to continue doing, which of course I'm thrilled. But this is for those students who it's an opportunity for them to earn college credit doing something that interests them. And I'll talk about it a little bit, but the AP Music Theory exam looks very different than a lot of the typical advanced placement exams. So it's an opportunity for them to get to exercise some different skills. So some of the skills that they're learning. This is not a purely written exam for AP theory. There is singing, there is writing music, there is listening. So I make a bunch of seniors sing at the end of their day. They love it. None of them are in chorus, so it's really fun. So there's a lot of decoding of larger pieces of music, some music that they've maybe even played in band or chorus before, and some that is entirely new to them. So it's a lot of critical thinking, problem solving, very akin to, I would say, like literacy, like a really taking a long passage of music, like a long passage of reading, and being able to break it down and to really understand musically what's happening, why it's happening. If I was going to continue writing that piece of music, what may I do? Advanced listening skills. There is listening and dictation on the AP exam, which means that they're going to hear certain melodies or chord progressions played on a piano or like some other instrument, and they're going to have to write down what they hear. So they're going to have to notate that music onto the page that they're hearing. So it's a really awesome skill to get to hear that, to kind of understand how am I breaking down which notes are what, which is high, which is low. On the other end of that, they also have sight reading, which they'll be shown a piece of music, and then into the microphone of their computer, they will have to sing out loud what they see. So these are more performance-based skills that you're seeing on the advanced placement, which I think is really, it's a really awesome way. It's really great to see them get to exercise. Some students who maybe have trouble writing or putting down all of their thoughts into words, or maybe reading that long passage. This is a way on an AP exam for college credit to get to use the skills that they know, and those are musical skills. There's also composition on the exam. They're going to be shown a few chord progressions, a few symbols. They're going to have to arrange, they're going to have to write a song as part of the exam, which I think is really, really awesome. And in general, it just deepens their musical understanding. This is something that, reaches not just in music, but these decoding skills, these listening skills, these analytical skills are reaching into other parts of their brain just through the medium of music and listening and songs, which I think is really awesome to watch them grow in other facets as well. But I'm really excited for these 3 students to be taking the exam in May, and I think they're going to do awesome.
Another thing that we did this year as a new course, we took one of our classes called Foundations, and we changed it to Academic Skills and Enrichment. And we have an ELA component and we have a math component. And this is to help kids with their skill progression to either better prepare them for the SAT or help them within their classroom. So I have Ms. Pacheco here, who taught a section of that for the ELA component, and she brought some friends as well. And so go ahead, Chelsea.
Sure. So my name is Chelsea Pacheco. I teach ELA for the juniors, and I co-taught, or I'm currently teaching a second section of this. So semester 1, I co-taught it with Kathy Catula, who is the 12th grade ELA teacher. So we have a quite a variety of skills. It's sort of like the catch-all sort of a class of like skills that students either have gaps in their knowledge or they just haven't maybe practiced for a while. Because we are working with juniors, such as Cooper was in my course semester 1, and Andres is here today representing for us. We also incorporated a lot of SAT strategies. So we open up every class with an SAT question of the day. Kids come in, they read it, they put their initials next to the answer they think is right. We spend the first few minutes talking about it. If they all get it right, high fives are on, stickers for everybody. If they get it wrong, we unpack that. Why does it wrong? We look at the evidence in the question itself, and through a lot of exposure to quite a variety of question types, kids are much more familiar with the question types, with how to think about the questions, and our juniors took the SATs in March. So some of the other skills, excuse me, that we went over, annotating, we looked at just annotating, which was sort of like summaries, what's happening on the text, but then also analytical annotating. So we looked at nonfiction texts, mostly some articles, relevant topics. In the second half of the semester, we really focused on the reading and understanding nonfiction texts, and then doing questions that are like SAT-like questions. We had a lot of practice with that. Students worked in groups often, so we'd have a lot of collaboration. But as the semester went on, Mrs. Catula and I were able to back off a lot. Students were running their small groups in analyzing the questions for the right answer, analyzing why certain answers were wrong, and then proving it with textual analysis and in a way that with confidence that we hadn't seen the beginning of the semester. We incorporate a little bit of typing skills because we noticed the students, the typing is just, it's not the kind of way that probably you or I were trained for typing. The paper over the hands and the stress, the timer's going. So we did a little bit of that just to have kids get a little bit of exposure, especially with most AP tests are online now. They're digital. So like I also teach AP literature, and the typos are preventable. So we're starting to incorporate that a little bit. Let's see. So we do a lot of grammar things. So like right now in semester 2, we're focused a lot on commonly misused words. There. It's. So some brushing up of skills, or if kids missed certain skills earlier in their academic career, it's just a really clear understanding of what you need to do and why. Can you boop? So this is some student reflections. I'm going to turn it over to Andres in a moment. So at the end of the semester, we had kids look at their data tracker. So the second half of the semester, when we're doing those nonfiction passages with question types, students who were tracking their answers. What kinds of questions am I usually getting right? Am I usually getting the vocab questions? Am I usually missing the inference questions? So we had them do an analysis and a reflection on their data. We also had them do more of a graphic one-pager, for example, here. This one's from Cassidy, just like on the course itself. So what do you remember from the course, etc. So fanboys, how to use commas appropriately with coordinating conjunctions. There's lots of stickers. You can't underestimate how far a sticker will go for students. Over 9, thank you. And then these are just some comments from students in their personal reflections at the end. So I'm going to turn it over to Andres now, just to talk a little bit about his experience. Take it away.
I definitely think ASE is a good class, and that a lot of students should be taking it because it helps students like interact with each other and figure out how to find answers together. And it also helps you alone figure out answers inside the text because you have to annotate, you have to find certain information inside. So I definitely think it helps students learn, and it helps it helps you with other classes like history or just any other class in general, because you find out the information and then there's the answer. So I definitely think it's a very good class for kids to learn.
Yeah, so one of the main components is really keeping it small too. So we had a class of, we were like under 10, I think. Under 10. So because it was co-taught, students got a lot of teacher time if need be. But again, like Andy and Cooper were able to really take the reins by the second half of the semester and lead their own learning. We provided the materials and some feedback when necessary, but really the kids really stepped up and they showed a lot of leadership amongst themselves, but also each other as the course went on.
Some of the things too that I noticed when I would observe the class is that Ms. Pacheco and Ms. Catula taught the students how to recognize what kind of question type the questions were, and then where you could find the answer. So for example, some of the questions, I heard the kids talking to one another, be like, this one's in the actual writing. We can find this one right now. So they would go and find, it's an easy one. We got this. And then they have another question like, we have to infer, or we have to make our own conclusion based on this. So they were able to kind of level off the questions and then debate with one another on which one they thought was the right answer and when it wasn't the right answer. And then they would have to, like she said, defend their answers. And then if they got it wrong, they had to go back and find the right answer and then convince the other group why that was the right answer. So it was really a powerful class. And I think hopefully it will show up in our SAT scores.
Yeah.
But we thought we really wanted to highlight that for this.
If you ever want to see kids nerd out and really argue about like commas and things, come on down to B2.
We also offered a math component to this class. We offered it, Mr. Shelton taught that primarily. I know Cooper took that one as well, to get prepared for the SATs this year. And so, Mr. Shelton put on the slide some of the things that he had the kids do, but they had an SAT prompt of the day. They went over the SAT prompt, and then they would kind of do something very similar, but on the math side of the coin. Cooper, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience in that class?
I did both ASC classes. I love them both, and I still love them both. Right now I'm in the math one with Mr. Shelton. It taught me a lot because I also have his class for a pre-calc class, which is helping me for AP Stats next year. but it's also teaching me how to improve my SAT score. And I also get to meet new people who I don't typically talk to, who I've known for years, but I've never gotten the chance to fully talk to them. I met a bunch of good friends now in ASE English with Miss Pacheco. And in Mr. Sheldon's class, that gets me a chance to talk to him more and understand more of his math, but also the math that was on the SAT and overall in class.
One of the things I see on there as well is that if you see down there, there's Desmos. Those are computer interactive things that are embedded into the actual testing platform. And so one of the things that we did in both these classes is kind of teach kids how to use the technology. There's nothing like going into a test and knowing the answer, but can't figuring out how to submit the answer correctly on the assessment. So Desmos is a way to like graph a function and do things like that. And so that was kind of the things that we had to teach the kids too as well with the technology. And we used part of the time in this class to do that. So you can see both these classes and the AP Music Theory. Those definitely relate to the goal one of the strategic plan as far as portrait of the graduate. And these are just some more quotes that Mr. Shelton got from some students. You'll notice Liam's quote. I had to basically bully Liam to take the class, but in the end, I think Liam felt very successful. Was very happy he took it. So I really liked that first quote right there. I wanted that on the slide for sure. And then the rest were from some of the other students that were in the class. And next, we're going to start talking about Think About Your Futures Week. So I'm Miss Whalen.
Stop with you guys. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Sharon Whalen. I'm one of the school counselors at the high school, and I want to share with you some of our Think About Your Future week that we had. This is an annual week that we host at the high school. We're in our 6th year of having this week. It is a week to promote all things college and career readiness. This year, it was from March 16th to March 20th. And as you can see from the flyer, well, you probably can't see because it's really small, but every day highlighted a different activity. So on the next few slides, we're just going to go through what the week looked like. So the first day, so day one, was Career Speaker Preparation Day, and we also held an SAT pep rally. So students prior to this week happening, they were sent a survey and they were able to indicate their top 3 career speaker choices. And they had a wide variety of options to pick some from. So we had everybody from nursing, we had engineering, we had welding, we had electricians, we had people from the business community, we had many opportunities for the students to choose from, which I thought was great. Most students got their first choice. There were a couple of students that might have had to take their second or third choice, but everybody got one of their top 3 choices. So the room lists were posted for students to report to those during an advisory because we wanted them to meet with their advisory room prior to the speakers coming in on Friday to, obviously gather so they knew where they were going and also give them the opportunity to formulate some questions to ask the speakers when they visited their room on Friday. And then they also participated in just kind of a kickoff Kahoot where they talked about different types of post-secondary education, information about interviewing, resume writing, career clusters, all things like college and career readiness. And then the juniors, I'm going to let Ms. Anderson talk about what the juniors did during that advisory day.
So that on that advisory day, the juniors, that was their culminating event of like a little SAT prep series we did with them. It was just a kind of refresher. So we had two weeks prior to that, we had the juniors get together in their advisories, and we had the ELA teachers run that and just do tips for ELA for the test 2 weeks prior. And then they also received a letter, and I incentivied how they did on their SATs. They would get raffle tickets based on however they scored or how much they grew on the SAT. So for example, if you scored 1,500 on your SAT, you automatically got 5 tickets. And then, if you grow this many points, you might get 2 more tickets in the raffle. To show them that I was not just saying that, I did the raffle with the October results from the class. So I pulled 3 names at that to kind of get them excited about taking it. And we gave out 3 gift cards at that. And so then they went with the ELA teachers to do some little test prep. We know that they're not going to get these great skills in 2 weeks prior to the test, but it's just kind of get your mind ready, how to use multiple choice responses, those kinds of things. So we did 1 round with ELA. The next week we did 1 round with math. And then the day before this, we all got together. we did a Kahoot around SATs and everyone got these cool t-shirts. You also want to turn around and show them? Yes, we all got a cool t-shirt. And we all wore, and so, because growth is the goal. And so we did that. And so that kicked off the Monday of Think About Your Future week to get ready for Tuesday. Cause guess what we did on Tuesday? We took the SAT. Okay.
Good. So Tuesday was testing day. So all ninth graders took PSAT 8-9. All 10th graders had PSAT 10. And then of course our juniors took the actual SAT that day. And our 12th graders were able to have a senior portfolio work day because that was due like the week after. So we gave them some time to work on their portfolios. And then after testing, we had for grade 11, we had a special lunch. And we had some kind of indoor like field day activities I think Nicole is going to talk a little bit about.
Yeah, so the whole like debrief after and doing fun things rather than going to class, I think definitely like soothed a lot of people after stressing out about all of this. And especially the special lunch, just having it just our grade, it really did like help to not have to go back to class. And the indoor field day, everyone was very involved and it was like the pep rallies that we have. And yeah.
Yeah, the senior class was kind of mad at me. They thought like these guys, and I'm like, listen, the idea came this year. I'm sorry. I owe you, but that's okay. And then I was like, maybe I like it. No, I'm just- And then day 3.
So day 3 was our post-secondary field trip day. So we've been doing this actually for a long time prior to even us starting Think About Your Future week. We've been doing early college exploration for, I don't know, probably over 15 years now. So I love that we are able to get our freshmen as ninth graders onto a college campus or some type of post-secondary institution. So we had a couple of options for the students. So freshmen were either able to go to American International College, Western New England, or Central, or to the IBEW, which is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers right here in town. Sophomores were able to pick from either UConn, Central, or again, IBEW. And then the 11th graders, we also had the college field trip, college fair trip that most of them decided to attend, but we did also provide them with the opportunity if they wanted to go on one of the other trips, if that was better suited for whatever their post-secondary plan was, that was also an option. So here are some pictures of our kids on campus. So they had a great day. They went on to campus. Typically they had an info session and a tour. So some students had the info session and then went on the tour. Some students did the opposite way. They came back. Some of the schools gave them some gear from the admissions office, but they came back and they were definitely walked around. I think some kids were surprised how much walking they were going to be doing. It was also a cold day and they were warned to bring a coat, but we had some students apparently that were a little chilly that day. But this particular slide, this has the IBEW, and we have Wyatt here to talk a little bit about his experience on that trip.
Overall, it was a very valuable experience, I feel, to be able to go learn about the side of careers in the in this type of labor force, in the trades, on larger scale electrical. It was really nice getting to learn about what work for electricians is like, what the benefits are, what schooling's necessary. Overall, I feel it was just an incredibly valuable experience.
You told me a little bit about some of the things you did there on that.
They taught us a little bit about the different programs they have. One for indoor, commercial and industrial electrical stuff, and then another for outdoor things like linemen and major power plants, things like that. They also then showed us some of the equipment they have there, like a simulation for operating the trucks. They allowed us to go up inside the bucket truck and learn about some of the equipment they use. And they also had us driving metal spikes called lags into a telephone pole, which is something that you would have to do regularly as a lineman. So overall, it was just a very valuable experience, I feel.
Thank you. And then the next slide features our college fair visit. So I think Nicole, you were gonna just talk a little bit about your experience at the college fair, or was that Cooper? Cooper, sorry.
Yeah, so I went to the college fair with a bunch of my friends, so I got to walk around with them. But also the more important part, I got to learn more about schools I was interested in. Like I got to talk to Roger Williams, which is a school I'm really interested in, and learn about all the programs they have to offer for me. Like I'm interested in going to sports management. And it's really important for me to know what these schools have to offer for me and what school sizes are, what class sizes are. It's a fun thing to do with my friends and learn some cool things about school.
Thank you. All right, so day 4 was mock interview day, and this was something we had done previously, but we had not done in a while. And this was kind of initiated back through Ms. Kaminsky and myself, who sit on the Career Pathways Advisory Board. So it was supported with a lot of the community members and business partners that we have through the Pathways Advisory Board. Students were able to work on their resume. So we did this with students in both grades 10 and 11 with the help of our English teachers. So Ms. Pacheco, obviously for 11th grade, and Ms. Terrazzo for 10th grade. So myself and Mrs. Walker, we pushed into English classes and we did some resume writing with students through our School Links program, which we use for our developmental school counseling program. And we also were able to do some prep for interviewing skills, like do's and don'ts of interviewing, those types of things. We encouraged the students to dress for their interview. And then we had, as you can see, here's some pictures from the day. We had a variety of different business partners and community members come in. So we had people from CT State, we had people from engineering firms, and the students went through their English classes, and then we kind of pulled them down in small groups. They came down with their resume. They met with somebody they didn't know, and they, did that uncomfortable handshake that they were all so nervous about. But it was real world experience for them. I mean, some of our students have never been on an interview before. Some of them had. So it's just really good practice for them, something that they're going to have to do. It was a great day. I think most of the students end up coming out very positive. I don't know if you have anything to add to the kids when they came back to your room.
It was my first experience with the mock interviews here because they just got brought back. And leading up to, many students were, not a big deal. It is what it is. And then the day was there, and suddenly we had this nervous energy in class. And they're like, well, what kind of job are they going to ask me about? And I was like, probably not a specific job. We went over questions that I printed from a source online. Somebody's like, why would they ask about what kind of Starburst flavor I am? So I was like, it's not about the flavor. It's about your rationale. So we go over examples, and they're like, it kind of makes sense. So they're like analyzing me. Yes. So they came back from their interviews, and a lot of kids are like, all right, it's okay. And we had prepped handshakes, and I gotta say, a lot of our juniors impressed me with strong handshakes. So they went in, and we made sure that their first impression was solid there, and they came back feeling like, oh my gosh, I just did a really big thing. And like Sharon said, for a lot of kids, it was their first, real interview. And I think it's something that we should absolutely keep going every year.
It was great. I mean, the kids, I think for the most part, seemed very positive after coming out of them. And it was just also great to hear from the people that we had brought in for the interviewers, how impressed they were with our students. So that was great to hear as well. I don't know if any of you guys want to add anything to what we just talked about.
I really liked the resource School Links. It helped because every section had a different thing that you could put on your resume. And it was a very good guideline, especially for those who have not written a resume yet. And also, I liked how it was the sophomores and juniors, because around this time, people are starting to apply for jobs, and they might want to get a little look on what it might be like before they actually go and do it. And I did like how we got our feedback back like a week later. And yeah.
Very good. Okay. All right. And the last day of the week, and the last day was like the culminating day, was Career Speakers Day, where we had over 25 different career rooms set up, and we had, I think, over 30 speakers. It was great. We had people from our own school system. We had somebody from the Broderick School. We have Sam Ryan came and was our speaker. We had some alumni come in, and then just some people from our Pathways Advisory Board, and then just through networking. So it was just really great to have so many different opportunities for the students. So these are just some pictures of all of the students in their rooms. And I just have a couple of, some of the students wrote like little thank yous to the speaker that they were in the room of. So I just brought a couple. So one of the students said, "Dear Sophie, I truly enjoyed getting to know you as a person and listening to you speak about nursing. It made me want to become a NICU nurse. I enjoyed listening to you and it inspired me in many ways." And another student said, "Dear Kim, I really enjoyed your presentation about real estate. This career is definitely something I feel passionate about, and your explanations helped me to get a better understanding of all the technicalities of the job. I appreciate you taking time to come to our school and present to us, and I'd love to see you back next year if you're able to. Explaining all the details to the group helped me get a full perspective on the job and what is needed. Thank you so much. We appreciate you." That's just some of the feedback from the students. And then we also had two students. It was hard for like the college spring break didn't totally align with this week, but we did have some students home. So we did have Alyssa Clancy and Sydney Donahue, who came into Tim's English classes and all the senior English classes, and just shared some information with them about their experiences at their two schools that they attend. So Cooper, you were talking a little about.
Yeah, I actually had Ryan as my career speaker.
It's great, right?
He said very good. He told us about the business side of what goes on within the school, how much things cost, how things work. But it kind of applied to my field, which I would be an athletic director within high schools. And when you're athletic director, you have to figure out money for sports, whether it's equipment, track equipment, baseballs, golf balls, because I play golf. But it helped me figure out like how things like that work, how you have to ask, and how much you get to spend.
And so hopefully throughout this presentation, you saw how all of the things that we're doing at the high school link to these 3 goals of the strategic plan. I know this is a little longer than we normally go, but this is remember, a one-stop shopping situation right now. So we hope that you were able to see how like our new courses and the courses that we currently offer definitely hit link with goal 1. How Think About Your Future Week definitely had community involvement and gave students opportunities to think about their career and post-secondary pathways, and how we were able to have student voice and faculty voice involved in all of our decisions with this. So other than that, if you have any questions, we'll be sure to answer any. This was so interesting.
I have a question. Are you guys using any AI? Because I hear that a lot of companies are actually preferring that format. Is that something that you guys are getting into, or do you have any plans to use it?
For this particular activity, we used our Schoolings program. So it kind of helps with what's part of our like student success plan. So this actual students are able to like log and document everything into the system, and they can update it every year, and then it automatically takes all the information and it transposes it into resume format for the students.
Okay, cool.
So it's very, very helpful. We love it.
Nice.
Anyone else?
No, thank you for this. This is awesome to the faculty, to the students. It's nice seeing how, like you said, the stuff that we're approving in curriculum committee is getting implemented and playing out. And it's nice seeing students benefit and seeing how everything kind of lines up with that objective of expanding the career pathway. So I love it. Thank you all for the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you. These are the round of applause.
It's just my posse. If that's you all can certainly stay, but you do not have to. So. Yeah, you don't have. You don't have. So much for coming, guys. Thank you so much. Great job.
Yeah.
Take brownies. There's the brownies.
Well, no, they're most affectionate.
So, I was obviously joking.
Just looking over my glass.
But I am about to get up and go get a brown. Anybody want one?
Yeah.
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 Bad magic, brownie. Sorry. You can continue on.
I will, Courtney.
Who wants Courtney? You want to look?
I'll get Courtney's down to me. I gotta put the pins in.
You want one? I'll take a cookie.
Courtney, are you getting?
I got Courtney.
Nancy, wanna?
Courtney, can you just throw your plate on the floor?
Oh,
I'm good, thanks. Nope, I'm good.
There's drinks.
Yes, there's an unopened tray. You don't want to.
Yes, yeah. I think I told her like enough for 12 people, and this is definitely enough for 1,200 people.
At least now I did it on purpose. I just remember new shoes.
Barbara Nancy was like-
That's a great idea.
If I can spell it, like, same time, we'll find it. Just tell us to read it.
Do you want to get on that?
We do have to go containers in the closet. I made sure that there was stuff in there.
Huge brownie. Hey, Frank, can you grab me one of those red drinks?
Yes.
Thank you.
You didn't say please though. Do you want this red drink?
Yeah.
Or this red drink?
Oh, no,
This one, yeah.
thanks. All right. Well, that was very interesting. On to the thank you. On to the superintendent's report.
Yes, so in your packets, if you look on page 12, you'll find the Family Resource Center program, kind of like reviewing recommendations. So as it indicates, kind of like with the, within, that information, certainly the information and recommendations are designed to strengthen oversight and operations to ensure the program's long-term, sustainability. We do have Kate Mabley here, the director. I think most of you know who Kate is, but she is the director, outstanding director of the program. We have Mrs. Fox here as well. So as far as putting together these recommendations, it was done in collaboration with Kate and Laura. Just to back it up a little bit, I think I was going back into my notes. It was May 9th of last year in which I presented some of the challenges with the existing structures of FRC, really the lack of existing board. And, you know, and part of the result of that is also not having kind of like oversight and checks and balances. Certainly, we recognize the FRC has strong staff, certainly with Kate's leadership. But the concern was, and the concern I shared back then, and nothing that Kate and I and Laura haven't talked about, is if we remove the people, we don't have the systems in place with the program to ensure its long-term sustainability. So we need greater systems to support the program. So what you have within those recommendations is essentially integrating the FRC into our existing systems by utilizing subcommittees, which should help streamline the work, reduce the need for extended time commitments, while recognizing capacity is limited, but also ensuring that we have systems in place to support the FRC program. So certainly, I could read the information, but that wasn't the intent. It was really to get the information to the board ahead of time. Again, piggybacking off of prior conversation, and then to utilize the time here for discussion, answer any questions, and then just kind of talk about next steps. Kate, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Does anyone on the board have any questions? You've read the information. It was very comprehensive, I have to say. So, one of the things that I do have a question about, as far as, FRCs. It's just that, and it's the advisory board, you know, that kind of, the original intent was, of course, parents from the FRC that are on the advisory. And I know that's been a challenge. It's been a challenge all over the place trying to get. And so I agree with Patrick's recommendation as far as some board members. And then, you know, again, staff having nothing. But one of the things I would really, really love to see is at least one parent of a child who is participating in the family resource programming in any way. Do you think that's possible?
I would like to say yes. I've asked parents in the past. We've had a good showing in the past. It's just been the last couple of years. Haven't really had anyone step up. I've put out surveys to ask for involvement.
Yeah.
And when we talked at the time about the advisory board and the commitment,
Yeah.
some parents shied away from it. So
Could we try? I hate to say this. Could we try one more time? Maybe I mean, what are we talking about? Four meetings?
4 meetings a year.
4 meetings a year. So if people really kind of understood what the commitment would be as far as 4 meetings, and if we can help in any way to talk to parents to kind of recruit, I just think it's very important. Just my own personal.
thank you. I agree.
That certainly makes sense. I would be surprised if, you know, you can't find one parent out of the program. But I think there was less, the structure seems to have fallen apart a little as far as the advisory board, right? So you
Yes.
really didn't have anything to sell because they weren't meeting, there was no organization, so.
We were meeting up until maybe about 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
We were having the quarterly meetings. We had, at the time, maybe 6 people on the board. And then we kind of lost interest. Some families, their children graduated,
Right.
and it was just hard to regenerate that opinion to come going. So
Well, thank you for being here. I hear great things about the FRC.
thank you.
Anybody else have questions? A lot of information.
I just have so Patrick, the way this is lined out, we would kind of absorb it into what we're already doing. And finance would meet with them on certain financial, they'd come to like the finance subcommittee
Yep.
meetings twice a year. Same thing with curriculum, so Daryl would spearhead that part of it. Policy, same thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we would, we've already started, like, we've gotten, the FRC as part of our normal, budget cycle. So like when I met with each of the department heads, Ryan and I, FRC was part of that rotation. I'd like to get them in our rotation during the summer when we update and review all handbooks. Kate and I have talked a little bit about that too. Sometimes we get a legal, update too, depending on any changes with legislation, so we include the FRC as part of that. And just to make sure that we're on top of any type of like legislative updates, and that you know, procedurally, like we're in line. It's always good practice to have checks and balances. I know this board understands and recognizes that with the number of systems we put in with our subcommittees. The FRC really is lacking it. It like begins with Kate and ends with Kate. And you know, due to her work ethic, she does a really good job with that, but that really shouldn't be the case too.
That's a lot.
There's a lot of
new, yeah.
So would Kate be responsible for writing the proposal? So each year you write a proposal to the state, right?
I do a grant application every
You do
2
it.
years. Yeah.
So Kate would be writing the proposal.
She would
to the
still,
state.
yeah, but I think
Yeah.
it would be important to get feedback as far as like programming and like, you know, like
Yeah.
community input and stuff, and like through curriculum council, that could be done.
Yeah, yeah.
Small group, I don't think it requires full board. And so, Kate, you explained to me, you used to provide an annual report to your board. We would have an annual report at one board meeting a year, to the full board, kind of like a school report. which has been my understanding standard practice up until the last.
Yes.
So
Could you bring 3-year-olds sometimes?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to work.
Maybe that's the bedtime.
And then, so what are the implications for budget? So we would be helping. And would that be written into your proposal as far as, how would that work, or is that just part of discussion?
yeah, I think if the board's on board. I mean, the next steps would be I'd be meeting with Kate and Laura, and these recommendations, we'd write them up to be adopted in a vote by the board. Certainly what we can do is take the input and incorporate some type of parent participation and take a look at as far as where that could be embed. I don't think we were Kate and I would talk, it at least would demonstrate would be eliciting parent participation, maybe not guaranteeing it, but certainly
Just say
work
the kind of, yeah, the kind
how
of
we could do that.
strategy.
Yep.
to that.
And you're comfortable with all that, Kate?
Yes. Most of the items outlined in Dr. Juden's packet are things that I was doing with the advisory board. It's just unfortunate that it did fall by the wayside. But I have been meeting with Ryan from a budget standpoint. I meet with Laura every other week to go over any sort of operational issues, challenges. So
I think also like they have input, like pricing, like even for like community based on community need versus like obviously one of the key aspects is affordability. But revenue also drives like the ability to provide services. So, you know, you consider, I'm not saying you do, but these are types of questions like, do you raise prices a little bit to provide, you know, a greater opportunity for services? I mean, because it is self-funded through both what it takes in for revenue, through payment along with grants and other revenue sources, like Care for Kids. So I think, you know, that especially having people connected with the community, tied to families, it, you know, it gives a broader reach, you know, when you're trying to balance both finances and support. Would you say that's fair, Kate?
yes, absolutely.
Patrick, I think that any professional development, I don't know if this has happened in the past, Kate and Patrick, but any professional development, I mean, there's some that's obviously going to be very, very directed toward, you know, to early education, but some of the stuff, right? If the school staff, right, is having some professional development, someone coming in and speaking, that might be an opportunity for FRC staff to also take advantage of that special, you know, PD. But it's,
Some of that is already
It's already
embedded.
happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, certainly, we didn't write in the recommendations, we can include it. It's a really, and, you know, and fine tune that. I know they do all the mandated trainings at.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I do believe, well, Kate, you can speak to as far as what that looks like, or if there's opportunity to do more. I mean, honestly, we haven't talked in great depth. I'm fine with you.
Okay, yeah. So all the FRC staff do complete the required vector training.
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
All those every year. And then usually throughout the year, I try to bring in a speaker or two, depending on what we're seeing in the program or what I'm seeing with the staff. So last year we had a motivational speaker come in to try to talk about burnout with the staff. In previous years, we've had someone come in to talk about challenging behaviors with kids,
Yeah.
you know, once you get midway through the year.
So those are areas where there could be crossover in terms of, you know, burnout is something overall, but managing behavior, a lot of SEL work that we would be doing would be crossover work. It would be great. I mean, it's great as far as, you know, I know you're doing this, you know, that whole idea of entering kindergarten and what happens. You're doing all that kind of transition work already. But,
I am also fortunate that majority of my staff are Broadbrook employees. So they do partake in the professional development that
Okay,
happens on
yeah.
early release days. And they cross over and bring back things to me as well. So I'm fortunate in that respect.
Yeah. Sounds like a good partnership.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you have your bylaws here, and these are the prices that are currently being charged and they haven't changed since 2013?
No, they have changed. That's.
That was That was a review. That was, so it's just served as a reference. Those were
Okay.
recommendations made back in whatever date that report is.
That's from 2013.
Yeah, but that's a lot. The reason I share that is because a lot of those recommendations are still true today.
Okay.
Has the FRC been able to sustain like the volume of children and families involved in the program?
I'd say we've seen this study consistent, yes. Right now, we are the only game in town, if you will, for before and after school care.
Yeah, which is a nice advantage.
Yeah.
For sure.
I worked with Stephanie from Work and Play when she closed last fall. And absorbed a lot of those kiddos that needed care, so.
Work and play is closed. My kids went there.
Yeah, with that too, I mean, I think some of the conversations, Kate will often have wait lists too for after school. And so, some of the challenges with that is staffing. And so I think by having some of these systems in place, maybe there's an opportunity to create, and expand. And if not, at least we're having a discussion with like a greater number of, support systems.
Any other questions?
How do we deal with this?
There's no action to take tonight, but you want,
Yeah, I think it'd be important for the board to take a vote on it. And I'll put it in, like, I'll re-message pretty much the same information, but more, for a vote.
do you want us to vote on it tonight? Or do you want us to review it and then vote on it?
So, I mean,
I don't have a problem voting on it tonight, but I don't know if everybody has a chance to read the whole thing.
But what are we voting on? Exactly.
I think really to adopt the recommendation. So, so talking about like the systems in place as far as like the use of, subcommittees,
Okay.
Something along the line, so we vote to
adopt the recommendation.
adopt the recommendations and become an oversight board for the Family Resource Center.
And you're making a motion?
You're like welcoming to this, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I know. Yep.
I
always think it's
vote
good to have
tonight.
another set of-
That we would become
You're okay with voting tonight? Yeah, good.
we would become the oversight board for the existing East Windsor Family Resource Center. That's what we're, right? That what we're.
I don't like oversight board, for some reason, I'm sorry.
I think the advisory board.
All right,
I think that we're working in collaboration with oversight from the Board of Education. We're not taking it over.
no, but all of the things that her advisory board was doing, we're going to be doing.
The subcommittees.
The subcommittees are going to be doing it. Kate's, finance right now, subcommittee, blah, blah, blah. The finance subcommittee, we see the financials every month for Kate's stuff. We have never talked about like her budget and what's what and blah. So we would take on more of a role of talking with Kate quarterly, or I don't know, whatever it's set up for, to talk about, okay, should you up the rate? Should you this? What should we? How do we figure out? And then the same thing in curriculum. We would go to curriculum subcommittee to talk about connecting the, which I know from my Evelyn being a part of FRC for the past how many years, there is a connection between the FRC preschool program and the preschool programs, so that there was not this. It is connected, but it'll be more of an not an oversight, but a partnership.
I think it's just the word that's given me a little agita.
So instead of her having that former board, we become that board, right? I don't know how you want to word it.
Not really, because we still want to have.
It's in
Yeah.
partnership.
Yeah.
Well, the advisory board that would be made up of FRC staff, right? East Windsor staff, hopefully a couple parents, right? And Board of Ed would be working together to then bring recommendations to this board? Is that how it's gonna work?
I think that's a different vision.
That's the vision.
At the end of the day,
No.
at the end of the day, it will come to the board, right? But
Just an annual report.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But it's
you
the
be it as,
It's the decisions then.
well, at the end of the day, FRC is still like
Yeah.
a separate entity. It's an advisory board. So you're advising now. Kate is a very collaborative
Yeah,
partner.
right.
I mean, my guess is like in collaboration, like the recommendations are going to be adopted. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, she could say no, but she could say no to her advisory board now.
Yeah, it would just continue functioning the way it functions, but Kate would have us as a group to partner with her to talk about whatever. I think that's the theory, because she doesn't have those other people anymore. And like Patrick said, if God forbid Kate were to decide next week she's moving to China, and we have no group of people who have the understanding of how to pick up and keep going, which we wouldn't have that now. You can't go for at least 4 years. I think that's the whole reasoning behind it. So I don't know what we call it. Maybe
Well, we
not
could-
governing advisory.
How about we call the, Family Resource Center Program Review Board, or, we act as as an advisory board or the FRC. And we don't have to get into any more, we adopt these recommendations and act as an advisory board for the FRC.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, well then I make a motion. I make a motion that we adopt Dr. Tudrin's recommendations and that the Board of Education acts as an advisory board for the FRC. That work?
is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Courtney. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
saved an agenda item
Yes,
next meeting.
I appreciate that.
You just checked off one of your goals for this.
That's a big one, Patrick.
That's right. Thanks for all the information that you gave.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kate.
Interesting. And thank you, Kate, for being here, and Laura, thank you. Okay, we are on to. I asked that we put the 27, fiscal year 27 budget, just in case there was something that we needed to discuss. I think pretty much everybody's aware that our budget was not cut further by the Board of Finance. Miss Computer Brain over here, recalculated the number that the Board of Finance had approved and found that it still contained out of $100,000 that the motion did not carry. So they are meeting tomorrow night.
Wait, say that again?
So the Board of, there was a member of the Board of Finance who suggested that they cut us $100,000.
Right.
And the motion did not get a second.
Yeah.
Didn't pass. But the number was kept in the budget and
They never changed the spreadsheet. They
Yeah.
had taken the spreadsheet.
They never
reduced it by 100,000.
They never changed this.
She redid her own set of, well, I don't know. You need a better hobby, but that's a.
I, the next day, was going through,
Yeah.
because of my obscene nature, my obsessive craziness. I was trying to figure out, now that they've passed this, what is the actual taxpayer increase relative to this town side versus the education side? Because it's important to know that, how much is for what. And as I was doing that, I was like, we're off 100 grand someplace. So I went and looked and that's.
And it was actually in the minutes.
So they made the motion to approve us at the amount that we had submitted.
Uh-huh.
But because that spreadsheet got changed, when they made their bottom line vote on the total
Adding the two
budget,
pieces.
it was short $100,000. So tomorrow night, they're meeting to redo that vote to add the $100,000 back.
But that's not specifically what the agenda says. So it might not be a bad idea to attend because it says discussion of the budget. So I don't know if they might end up reconsidering that 100,000. I don't know.
That's what happened to cause the issue. It was a scribing error. Somebody went in and did it and then forgot to go back and
Undo it. Yeah.
Brian, that's a big one, huh?
It's only one number, but a big one. So, other than that, there really is no other discussion for budget at this point until, the
That's
budget.
tomorrow night. I'm sorry.
Tomorrow night is their,
6 o'clock
Yeah.
too, I believe.
Is it 6?
6. I thought that's what they
Yeah,
posted.
6 o'clock.
Oh, thank you.
but, then it's May 12th is voting on the budget. So until then, we don't really need to speculate any further.
I will say in the meantime, Brian is, he is working with, payroll as far as just updating salary projections for next year. We are still, Ryan, we're still awaiting, revised medical projections from One Digital, or at least clarification last they provided, because they gave us a lower percent, but the dollar amount was minimal, like, so, we're waiting for clarification why, we thought it would be a more of a reduction, and then we are reviewing and updating all, anticipated special ed costs for next year. So in the meantime, certainly we're getting as much information as, possible regarding the things that at this point would impact the budget the most.
Any other questions or thoughts on the budget? Kind of budgeted to that. Up to you guys. Except for Noreen. Okay, so we added van discussion to the budget, to this old business discussion. And I don't remember now what the discussion was that we were gonna, we were gonna have a motion.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out when we last met as a board. Was it before or after the Board of Finance meeting?
Before.
And it was before.
It was before. So we had already made the decision as a board a while ago about the purchase of the 2 vans. And then at the last regular Board of Finance meeting in February, we went and they had put on the agenda for us to go have a conversation with them about the vans. So we went and talked with the Board of Finance, and with Ryan, Denise and I, and, expressed to them this idea of us buying these 2 vans for $225,000, which would be able to cut $100,000 a year out of our budget for transportation costs and the whole thing. They were receptive to it. They thought it was a good idea. We talked to them about the issue of financing them over 5 years or not financing them over 5 years and just getting them outright. And they asked that we come back to them. We were going to gather and get an updated price on the vans and come back to them. They meet next week. So
They had said at the last time we met, that they would put it on the agenda for their next meeting, so.
So I think we talked about this in the finance subcommittee.
Right.
Is that, I think personally, I think it's best that we send something to them. Just asking them for an added appropriation for the price of the vans, which is about $230,000. for us to present it to them as we need 200, we need that an appropriation of $230,000 in order to get these vans. Reiterate with them the reasoning for it, and they were all for that. They understood the transition program and the need to have that be consistent. And then it's up to them to decide where to get the money from or come up with suggestions. But I think at this point, we just have to send it to them as this is our request and have them decide how they want to proceed.
So a motion would be in order to
A motion would be in order to
make a request to the Board of Finance.
for an added
An appropriation.
appropriation of $230,000 for the purchase of the new vans. And then Ryan and Patrick can get everything together, get it to them so that it's on their agenda next week. And we proceed from there.
So would anyone like to make that motion?
I feel like you worded it so perfect.
Yeah.
I know, I was trying to write it down.
You have, I did.
Yeah.
Courtney moved.
So somebody needs to make,
I'll second. Courtney moved.
oh, Courtney, okay, and then second,
I'll second.
seconded by Betsy.
That's right.
Did somebody say
Oh, you did already?
I did.
She did.
Well, that's not her fault. It is, no, I love you. I love you.
Okay.
You can second.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, we're tired.
The second was Fran, not Betsy. Betsy was a third. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay.
Good.
We are on to the subcommittee assignments, and I have to publicly thank Jessica for taking that, what I felt was a horrible harassing subcommittees and redid it with, and this has been something I wanted since I started on the board 200 years ago, it feels like, but that's not real. She did exactly what I had wanted to do. So this is so much better. It breaks it out so that the standing committees are the first page. Those are the ones that meet really, quite often. And this is all up for whoever wants to take on a particular one. Those of us that have been on, we know what the committees pretty much do. But Casey and Corinne, it's all probably Greek to you because it certainly was to me when I first started. So I can have somebody from each committee just give a brief, here's what I do, here's what we do on this committee. And then we can just say who wants to be on.
And really, with a board of our size, we need to have 3 members and 1 alternate. Is that what the goal is?
We have 4 on finance, I know.
Well, that's
Well,
because we have the 2 open.
Yeah,
Heather used to be on
yeah,
and Kate. I think it was set up finally that we have 4 people
pretty much on every
on
board.
every board.
But if we only have 3, that's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would rather see 3 people that have the time to commit to the board and be at the meetings and participate than have 4 and have 1 that's maybe holding people up because they can't make it and it gets confusing. So I'll start with Board of Policy Review Committee. Who is, and that for the new ladies, that's what they call BPR around here. So who is the BPR chair? Do we have her?
We did not.
Did we?
Oh, it was Heather.
Yeah, but we have one meeting. She was part of that meeting. We don't currently have a chair.
So could Fran?
Well, it's basically we go through the policies of the board and if anything needs to get updated or renewed, we take a look at, Patrick comes up with these things, the state mandates and things that need to be looked at. And we just went through an intensive policy update where we updated the entire book of policies. So we streamlined everything and we have it all with Shipman and Goodwin.
Yes.
And so we are legal, well, we were up until today, because we have this other stuff that's got to be looked at, but, we have everything is updated and current. But it's a good way to, figure out what happens and how things happen, why things happen. An interesting one. I'd be willing to back off of that. Now that we've got all the big work done. So,
I mean, one policy that will take some time will be AI. I know that came up today. We do need to adopt a policy that obviously provides some flexibility, appropriate use, but also obviously maintains the integrity with academic work as well too. So that's coming down the line. There's legislative updates every year. So after they pass this or we get through this legislative session, I know it is a short session, there will be something that impacts schools. Usually those come out in the fall and they get implemented usually a year later. But AI is the one that comes to mind.
So, currently it's Betsy, Fran, Gabby and Courtney. Is anybody, do those that are presently on not want to continue? I know Fran said she'd come off. Would either somebody else want to be on it?
I'm listed as an alternate, so I typically don't go to the meetings. And I'm not trying to add any more to my world right now. So I would stay an alternate.
Betsy,
I would like to be on I would continue.
you're staying on policy. Debbie?
I'll stick around.
Okay.
just offering it if someone else wanted to, if either of you two wanted to check it out.
Yeah.
I found it really helpful when I was a first-time board member to be on BPR when I first started, just because really allowed me to like dive deep and look into everything. I found it helpful. So I learned a lot.
In each quarterly, right? Or as
As needed.
There's like 18 of these. Can we like think about this and talk about it in the next meeting or get back to you with the email? Because I'm looking at this for the first time and I don't really know what any of these are. I'm sorry. So I'd like to look at this.
Sure.
Thanks.
I don't see any reason.
I mean, unless you need to sort it out today, then I'm gonna say pass. I'm gonna be honest.
What each one does that. Yeah.
Should we talk about what each of them do?
Yeah.
Will that be helpful?
And if
Yeah,
there's
would be.
people that want to
Thanks.
get off of one, then we can know that there's a.
But I see
I'm not
plenty
saying
of
I want to
vacancies
get off of it. I'm
here.
just offering,
And, like,
if,
all these.
I've been on it for 9 years. I can.
I would.
Okay. Can we go into the finance committee?
Yeah.
These four the major.
Oh, those are the most important ones? Okay, okay.
Particularly.
Cause I see all these vacancies here and it's like, well,
What
you
you're saying
can't
is,
join everything?
how about if we just go through what,
So let's, these front ones are the main ones.
Okay.
You'll see that halfway down the second page,
Yeah,
there's a line, from there on, they're all like as needed,
yeah.
because they're negotiations and if the contract isn't up, you can be on it for 2 years and it's not, you're not doing anything because the contract's not up or whatever. So those are not, don't be
Those
threatened
aren't
by them.
critics. Okay.
They aren't.
They are.
And the
Right.
liaisons that are at the top of that page, that second page,
Yeah.
are just representatives that go from the Board of Ed to a meeting of like the Board of Selectmen to just hear what they're talking about, if they're
Okay.
talking about education at all.
Okay.
You don't have to say anything. You don't even have to really go to the meetings. You can watch them online. You can read minutes as long as you're aware of what's happening.
Going on, yeah.
So that, if something urgent happens at a meeting and there's none of us aware. So
Right.
that those are,
Right, right.
so really it is pretty much the first.
Just the
page.
first page. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm
that's all
looking at all of these and I'm like, I see it on the side.
Yeah,
You
no,
do them
no,
all.
no worries. Oh, and we
you.
don't expect you to.
Thank you.
That's why we have 9 members. So I'll have, Noreen, who's the chair of the finance committee, sort of describe that.
We meet once a month, always the Wednesday that our meeting, the first, whatever, the second Wednesday of the month. We meet for an hour before our board meeting. We meet with Ryan, Patrick, and we go through all of the financials. Ryan brings us an updated list of all the financials as of last month, how much, where we started, how much we spent, what we've got encumbered, for both our budget, the town side budget, our grants from the federal government, our grants from the state, our cafeteria, the FRC. And we talk about anything financial, like the idea of the bands came out of finance committee. Ryan and Patrick will come up with things that are like, well, it's gonna cost us some money. And so we talk about it and then it comes to the board. We meet always. We don't cancel. If we kind of skip a meeting, it can cause a wrench into things. So it is 6 o'clock, the second Wednesday of the month. And basically we work closely with Ryan and Patrick and then bring it all to what we talked about tonight in our meeting gets presented to the whole board at our next meeting.
Okay, so school facilities, strategy committee. I'm the chair of that. We meet as needed. When it's time for us to do, requests for capital projects, our buildings, our grounds, that kind of stuff. This committee sort of sets out what's important, what we need more information before, again, it comes to the full board. I think I walked in with Corinne and I told her, no subcommittee makes like motions and decisions. They sort of come together and agree to whatever, but it is then brought to the full board for vote. It's an interesting committee. Capital improvement at the end of the year, once the budget is passed, capital improvements will then be chosen by the capital improvement committee. And I'm on that as well as the facilities committee. We've had to have discussions about patching roofs, about chimneys falling down. We meet with Kyle, who is the facilities manager, and it's an interesting committee as well. So, and curriculum, Courtney.
In curriculum council, we talk about all sorts of things, including like upcoming or new courses that we might be offering, possible courses that might be really like mandated that we're gonna have to start doing. We look at sites like HeadSite and go into that and see how it can be helpful. Our programs, our testing, missing everything, but we go through a lot.
Tonight's presentation was a perfect example of courses that were approved last year by curriculum, well, brought to the board for approval by the curriculum committee.
Daryl's been really helpful in bringing things to curriculum committee and making, recommendations, or if we ask for him to kind of look at different things or do a little research, he'll come back with some research for us. So it's a pretty interesting committee.
Like when the bell schedule, we're getting ready to like change the way our schedule's looking, and there's different changes like that are within the school day. I feel like those kind of come to curriculum council as well.
So those are the ones that are the most important that we'd love for new people to be on, and maybe some of the more senior people can step off. I would, because I'm also chair of the ad hoc committee, that was appointed by the Board of Selectmen. I think it's important for me to maintain that link while we do the, school projects. So I'll continue on the school facilities, committee. And I'll take on the liaison work for the capital improvement because I'm appointed to that as well. So, so I can be there as a capital improvement person and also represent the board at the same time.
There's one on the second page. Oh, I'm sorry, guest.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, do we also still have a vacancy for the ad hoc committee as well? Cause I think it was Heather that was on there. We had 4 members. Is that-
Heather is on there. But
But
she's,
for the Board of Ed, we had 4 members of the Board of Ed that were on the ad hoc committee. So do we still have to fill that? I know we were waiting until we had full board on our end.
yeah, you're right,
Cause she's a community member now.
right. Yeah, so we do, who appoints, the Board of Selectmen appoint that, so we would have to make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen for a second Board of Ed member. If that's what we're supposed, is it? I don't recall if capital improvement is requires the 2 Board of Ed. I don't think it does.
Wait,
I'm talking ad hoc.
Ad hoc.
you talk about Ed.
Oh, ad hoc. No, Heather filled it.
No,
But no, we have a
Board
board
of
of
Ed.
Ed member. We're short a board
We
of Ed
had
member.
4 Board of Ed members.
because Heather left and took the
Right.
whoever's seat.
See it, at large. At least, so yeah, I guess we do. Okay, I'll check on that.
Page 2, there's an athletic council. That's actually a committee, that we meet quarterly. We meet, but the timing of the meeting can get changed. We kind of flip it around occasionally. We've been meeting on Friday mornings at 9 o'clock at the high school because the athletic director works in the buildings. We talk about everything athletic. Anything to do with athletics. We meet, at the beginning of every season, we talk about what happened the prior season. We talk about how are our teams doing? How is our participation? What can we look at for later? So, right now we meet on a Friday morning, but some of that can also get looked at. If like Friday morning just don't work for somebody who really wants to be on it, we can look at switching the timing of it. So.
Is there another one where you can do it by Zoom?
That one, no, you can't do that one by Zoom because right? Do we have a, could we, if we use the room across and
It has to be here. Well, I mean, for the,
athletics
is that, the room?
and 4?
He's at 4 and 5.
No, but which room? Can you like virtual, can you like? remote so-
N 5 is supposed to, but can we do it in N5? No. So can we do it in N4? I don't know if
Who wants to shake it?
Possibly.
And 4 we can, right? Because that's our old Board of Ed.
Not, yeah, it doesn't have the
Oh, is that?
yeah, it was used just for like kind of like old schools presentations, but
Oh.
not necessarily the remote. We could look into it. We might be able to use, we could use the owl, but
Yes.
Yeah.
we can, especially for a small group, we
Yeah.
could set that up.
4 people.
So we can amend, we can work within. it. But athletics, that's what it is. It's athletics.
So then the next ones are liaisons to Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, Capital Improvement, the Capital Region Education Council, Wellness Committee, do we?
I don't even know what that
I don't have it.
So we added that, that came out of the food service audit.
Oh. I was gonna say, we don't need any more. I don't need to add more.
The food service audit has indicated that this committee does need to meet, a few times a year. I know that's later on the agenda and actually, those policies aren't
yeah,
ready
yeah.
to bring forward. We were hoping they would be ready. We're still looking to get some feedback on some of those, but,
Services, what a pain.
oh, yeah. Most in-depth audit.
God. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So then we have pension board and the new FRC partnership. So the following categories after that are all those negotiations that until contracts come up, and then we can sort out who can do what contract as they come up. So
Please, I'd like to stay on, just to make it easy, I'd like to stay on the CREC, council, be liaison to CREC and your council,
okay,
all right?
so that's a go. We want to table this to the next meeting? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a motion would be in order to table table the subcommittee assignments to the next Board of Ed regular meeting.
I will make a motion to table the subcommittee assignments to the next Board of Ed meeting.
Second,
I'll second that.
second,
Then we
everybody,
carry a chance.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we're on to a bunch of policy things here.
So, we can skip 1 through 4. They're not ready.
Oh,
I will make a motion to table items 1 through 4 under new business.
okay, so we move, motion's made second. Seconded by Betsy. All those in favor? Opposed?
Can't do 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, no, I will say, I fully anticipate those will be on, for the next board meeting. We're waiting to, from the state to get feedback as far as revisions. So we just want to make sure what we're bringing meets what they're looking for.
Did we have the first reading of the, staff conducting?
We did. So,
Yeah.
we had the request to add, more of a background as far as, so that has been added. So if that part looks good, based on feedback, it should be good to go as far as a vote.
I have one question, just one question, of course, Patrick. So I'm just looking at the, it's underneath authorization to conduct. And, get to that page. So thank you for adding the description. I appreciate that. Number one. And it talks about any certified or not certified school personnel may conduct a home visit, provided that. But then it goes, and number 3, it's at
What
least,
page?
oh, I'm sorry, 51, Patrick, 51. Let me put it in the chat.
Yeah, all right. I see it. Where it says 1 through 4.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. So then it goes on to say at least 2 trained school staff. Am I that wouldn't, one of them would need to be certified, correct? And one of them could be non-certified, a para.
Correct.
Could we just indicate that in here? Because it just says at least 2 trained staff. It doesn't indicate. So it could be 2, if I'm reading this correctly, it could be 2 paras that are not certified.
Well, above it says.
Any certified may conduct, but then it says at least 2 trained. So it's not specific about one needs to be certified, one cannot, one does not be certified. At least 2 have to conduct, but 1 must be a certified person.
Is it like by law? Like that's the
Well, that's what the training, that's what the model is. I do know that.
Yeah, I mean, I can add and break.
Okay, it's just a little more specific.
Want to bring it back or
Can we just do it as amended?
Yeah, we can amend it, and then
Yeah.
I'll just have to figure out.
Because everything else is good. I'm sorry, Patrick. I just, that one really.
Okay, do you want to make a motion to change that so he's got official?
Can we change it to say? It currently says at least 2 trained staff, school staff.
Well,
members.
everyone's going to be trained, whether they're certified or not certified.
Right.
But we send somebody who's certified, right?
And sometimes it's more than 2. It's a minimum of 2. So,
But one must.
One must be certified?
yeah, it could be,
So can we
and
just-
certified could be a teacher or administrator.
That's
Can we change it to
These 2 trained staff.
at least 2 trained?
And 1 being certified. 1.
One, yes, one staff being certified. One of the two certified?
At minimum, two trained school staff members, one of which must be certified.
Yeah.
Okay. Least thing is throw that on.
Okay, so with that, that change, a motion would be in order to,
So I will make a motion that we, amend number 3, under authorization to conduct home visits to include at least 2 trained school staff members are present at all times, one of which must be certified.
so with that, correction or addition, and we're also making the motion to approve the,
Amendment?
yeah, no, the whole policy.
Well, I can just second what she has and then somebody else can.
Okay, we won't do that.
I'll second.
Thanks.
Seconded by Fran. All those in favor of the change? Okay, now motion would be in order to approve this policy.
I'll make a motion to approve series 5700 staff conducting home visits. As amended.
Second.
Seconded by Courtney. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Opposed? Yeah, motion's carried. Now we are on to the calendar. Hopefully there won't be any more snow, so we can finalize the closing date for schools. So it's not on Tuesday.
No, I know, it was like.
Does anybody have any questions on the calendar?
Where are the red circles? Are those the snow days?
Yes. And then the 17th, definitely the last day of school.
Yes, so basically you have to vote on the what changed is the last day of school. High school graduation date, that's the same. All the other dates are the same. The only change is voting on the last day of school being the 17th.
The last day of school.
What was it previously?
I believe it was the
11th.
11th.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It was nice.
Wasn't it? I don't know. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025-26 school year calendar to change the last day of school to June 17th. Due to snow days.
There's a second.
Second.
Seconded by Courtney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're opposed?
Yeah, I want to keep it the 11th. Okay, yeah. Me too. Henry, I love it.
Okay, so we are on to the certification for the FRC, the exemption verification. I see it's the state of Connecticut letterhead.
More teaching.
Sorry.
I don't.
Dated March 18th. That letter?
Yes. Thank you.
You want to speak to that?
Actually, we have Kate here, so so I mean, it was last signed with Dr. DeBarge. And it's outdated. I think it was part of your review process. So I'll let you speak to you because you know the history behind it and such.
So the FRC program receives federal dollars for the Care for Kids program, which is over under the umbrella of the Office of Early Childhood. So the FRC receives an annual inspection from one of their license inspectors. We are classified as license exempt because we're housed in an elementary school, so we have a different set of standards. As Dr. Tubin said, the last one that is on file, has Dr. DeBarge's name on it. So when the inspector came beginning of March, she requested that we have an updated form with the current superintendent's signature on it. And this form basically just outlines that the Board of Ed is responsible for the oversight, the staff, and the programming of FRC.
So I will make a motion to approve the FRC exemption verification. And authorize the superintendent. And authorize the superintendent to sign.
Thank you.
Seconded by Casey. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Liaison subcommittee reports. Does anybody have anything? Talked about Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen meeting.
I have something really quick. I went to Correct Council meeting and they did a really good presentation on the choice program.
Yes,
And all the different components of the choice program. And I wondered if board members would be interested in having somebody come from the choice program, whether it's you know, the two people, someone from the choice program from Craig. So Craig is the administrator for choice program in this area. I should have said that. And they offer a variety of services to school districts who are participating in the choice program. We're receiving quite a bit of money from choice. And I wondered if our board would be interested in having somebody come and speak. We can tell them for how long, but we could ask questions and get even more information. And I just wanted to, if we are interested in that, I talked to Patrick or others, and Denise, to see what, you know, when a meeting might be useful for people.
Might be interesting.
Talked about the lottery, and then I know that Daryl and I had a conversation about just some of the communication back and forth around attendance. And that would be a time where we really could kind of get into like ask some real questions and maybe to get some concrete answers.
That would be interesting.
Patrick, we can talk, and you can let me know maybe what, I know we're pretty packed right now, what would be a good, month. And I can let, Sarah
Maybe summer.
and Curtis know if, you know, if they would be willing to come. And
Yeah, I think as Denise indicated, I think maybe sometime in summer when things are slower for everyone
Yeah.
would be best.
let me know and I'll contact Curtis. Anybody else got it?
Liaison, subcommittees, anything.
We did have the curriculum council where we did like a deep dive into the ed site, which I really, as long as I've been on the board of ed, I've never really taken the time to look at it. And something that I found interesting, or what I thought was good about it, was how you can really look at the trends within all of the schools now to be able to see, you know, how we were doing, say, pre-COVID, you know, to the following year, to, you know, taking like 5 years and actually being able to see where our growth has gone was really cool to see. And then just like the breakdown of all the different areas that you can look into within any district, and you can break down all of the schools, see absences, for, you know, financials, everything basically is on there. And it's a good tool, not to be used necessarily as straight fact, but the trends were good and interesting. Yeah.
Anyone else? Does our public want to participate again?
Well, I'm sorry, I have one.
Do that.
I'm sorry, I have one liaison. I have PTO had bingo. We had the annual PTO bingo. It was a fabulous time and our superintendent did an exceptional job of calling.
I couldn't keep up with
Thank you.
Mr. Ryan.
Yeah.
Is it Mr. Ryan or you, Laura, that was calling it?
That was calling, I was.
Yeah, the Broadbrook School admin team, myself and my daughter struggled to keep up.
Serious bingo players.
You did a fine.
Thank you. And you had some.
I have one that came up with the finance subcommittee and Daryl being extremely efficient reported. The question was asked how many students were McKinney-Vento at one point this year. It's 12.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Daryl.
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah, that was good.
Especially.
Yes. One for Booster Club
Uh-huh.
is that their spring purse bingo is on the 19th. So upcoming 19th of April. 19th of April.
That's that's in, what time does that happen?
Okay.
Is it afternoon?
It's afternoon, yeah.
It's Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, it's still like, I think 1 o'clock. It
And it's at
started
the American Legion and.
in Tangway, yeah, up on.
I want this purse there.
Yeah.
Is that noon, noon, the bag preview, 1 PM.
1 p.m. start. Thank you.
Yeah, we have quick responses tonight.
Okay. Mr. Public.
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Broadbrook. So, for a few years, I've been participating in the Veterans Day event. I've been going to the high school. And I thought you might be interested in hearing an observation from someone who goes there. I don't know, I'm sure you've heard about it. But myself and a number of other veterans go in uniform. And I'm not trying to make what I do better than anybody else, but I like to put together a history of my time in the service with pictures to back up, which I leave with the class. So we get to go to a classroom with a variety of students. The first time I did that, I just couldn't believe the quality of questions that came from the students. I know they work on it in advance, but it was spectacular. The opportunity to sit one or two of us with a class is probably one of the best things that happens for us and for them. The presentation in the auditorium is wonderful, but the classroom time is what I consider the most valuable. We give them kind of an idea of what military is like, although it's probably a little different today than when I was in there. Because old iron sights, they don't use it anymore. But seriously, they are really interested. And so I think it's good that you guys know that this is an event that needs to continue. It is wonderful.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other, public? I think you're the only one. And you hung out till the end.
It was worth it.
We're entertaining, aren't we?
I'm not gonna say it that way. Let's just say you're interested.
Whole presentation.
Fantastic. I agree.
Learned a lot, I bet. We're on to miscellaneous. Anybody have anything miscellaneous? I do.
Oh,
We
perfect.
have,
Nice. Is that you, Jess? What? What is this?
those are pictures from the Veterans Day.
It's you, Patrick? How responsive are we?
I know. Really good.
Very cool.
Done.
Yeah, we had the photographer come that day.
Well worth it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite days of the entire school year.
Very cool.
Nice.
I saw you, Paul.
So Fran, once again, you got cut off. Weren't you going to say something?
I was. It actually has to do with, correspondence. It reminded me that, if we could take a look at some of the forms for, like the final forms. I think Steve Burdrett is still on in some of that stuff as the, sports director.
Yeah, director, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
In correspondence, we have. I think you want to speak to the budget freeze? There's a letter.
Yeah, we, so it was, I believe it was shared at the last regular board meeting. This is just the email that went out. So I believe verbally I shared the information, and then this is just the correspondence.
And graduation results.
And that's, that information's been shared to, again, it's just the correspondence that came in.
And a thank you to Betsy for a very generous donation of a lot of books.
Helped me.
So we've got a bunch of correspondences. Want me to go through this whole list or you all see it and?
I'm good.
Yeah, the only thing I'll mention is number 7, the educator rising. The middle school is actually coming to present with the kids on the program in a future meeting. The high school presented last year
Okay.
and the program has now expanded to the middle school. So Mr. Brunt, Mrs. Sharp, and the students will be coming at a future meeting.
Right program, it just continues.
Okay, a motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll make the motion to adjourn. I'll second.
Made by Noreen, seconded by Fran.
All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you, everybody.